Hello everybody, how are you doing today? Welcome to the weekly collective reading. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This happily fed dog behind me is Apollo. Thanks for giving me a second to give him a walk and give him a little snack. He's super happy because of that. So welcome everybody. A great topic was chosen today by everyone, and it's basically wake up call. What does the universe want you to know? I love this one because we're really letting guides, angels, ascended masters come through and guide the reading, not necessarily for what we want, but what we need to see. And that's not always the same thing. So it really empowers me to just be a clear channel today. So it's probably one of my favorite topics too. It just came to me yesterday as I was typing everything up. I'm like, what if we just let, the powers that be decide? So thank you everybody for joining. If it's your first time here, first of all, it's good to have you. What we're going to be covering today is a series of things. We have that special topic, which is going to dig a little bit deeper into the next week ahead and sort of see what it is that we need to focus on. But I always begin with channeled messages first, and then we'll get into a very simple to look at 7-day forecast that takes us from today, Sunday, to next Sunday. And that gives us a chance to basically map out the week. I love it. I find it very helpful, and it's a great way to kind of make sure that you use each day to its maximum. After that, we'll take a look at some blessings and blocks. We'll tune in for the only part of this reading that'll be sign specific into the elements. So basically, I'll break all 12 signs into the 4 elements, and then the rest of this is special topic oriented. So that's the overall organization. And thank you. If you're brand new here, please hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on a future video, and opt into bell notifications as well. You can also join me across social media. On all major platforms, it's my first and last name together, no spaces, no changes. And if you need to ever kind of verify what it is, you can look at this video or you can go to my website. Remember, I don't offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. If you want to show support, you can do it here through SuperStickers, Super Chat, and memberships. I'm starting to do some new things with memberships, including member-only live streams, and members already get a chance to vote twice and ask Q&A questions. So I try to give back to the folks that support me. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into your channeled messages for today. Today's was very much inspired as I was doing my one card pull earlier this morning, and I was paying attention on the 10 of Swords to the sun that's rising. And it's interesting because a lot of times we focus just on the fact that, the person's there in the foreground. I'll pull the card up for a second as we talk. But there's always the hope of a new day when we're looking at that. And I was thinking of the sun, really, when I was connecting to the 10 of Swords, because so often we're focusing on darkness or fear, and the sun rises every day. We get a chance every day to reset. And I thought, what better symbol to kind of get things started today than the sun itself? Let's get into, here we go. We'll look at the card first, and then I'll get into the messages. So here's the card. You'll see a person in the foreground. You'll see a dark, sort of stormy night passing, and then we see that new day right by my thumb that's starting to rise. So the sun gives us this chance to reconnect with that energy. And it's also basically a big power plant. That's all it is. And it's a reminder that we have that capacity every day to hit the reset, be our own source of power and energy, and forge forward. Okay, so let's go ahead now, pull up the presentation and talk a little bit about the sun, something we see every day but don't think a lot of, because we just take it for granted sometimes, right? All right, so less is more. One fun fact, if you ever kind of Google all the different sizes of suns, or stars more specifically, the bigger ones out there, they're the ones that we can see in the sky. They're beautiful, but they don't last a long time. Massive stars can burn out and explode in a few million years, where our sun can basically last for 10 billion years, which is amazing. And I think it's about halfway through its lifespan, so it'll be around for a little bit longer. Also, there are different deaths that happen with different sized stars. So the bigger ones go supernova. Ones like our sun, basically it will become a red giant, and then it's going to be a white dwarf. So it doesn't destroy itself, it just diminishes a bit. And there'll still be some vestige of the solar system. But the inner planets all the way up to Earth, actually, particularly Mercury will be gone, Venus will probably be gone, and Earth will just be a rocky core because the sun is going to extend out that far. But it's going to be around for a long time, and that's off in the future. And the whole purpose of this is saying that why burn out all of your energy? Sometimes this is good if you're worrying about things, like why burn it all out on stress Why burn the candle at both ends? Save something for the journey home. Save something for the round trip. There's a movie that came to mind here, and it was Gattaca. It's a really good sci-fi movie from late 90s, early 2000s. No, it was late 90s because I was overseas when that movie came out. And there's a scene in it where Jerome, or Vincent, the main character, he beats his brother when he's kind of like racing, and he wants to know how he did it. And he said, I never saved anything for the journey back. He just pushed through to get to the other side. There are times where that makes sense, but it's not sustainable in the long run. And you put yourself in a sort of precarious position if you don't have contingency. So save something for the journey home to make sure that you can get back. It's a cool movie though, and in that moment it makes sense, but it's a little scary even if you watch that scene. So do pace yourself. We want to be more like the sun. We don't want to be like the supernova, burning out too quickly, okay? Less is more. You are the source. This is what I was talking about. The sun basically is a big factory of energy. And when we look at people in our lives, they tend to be mirrors of our energy or the problems that we need to solve in our life. So they're either showing our light and shining it back, or they're reflecting our problems. So if you're having some difficulties with people around you, if you want to bring it, level up, let's say, the energy of the people around you, focus more on the internal work and focus more on what you can do to create, to be that source, rather than to look to others, to validate, to lead, because basically we have to learn about our own capacity to be the sun, okay? So in this period of time, you also have the capacity to heal yourself and rise, just like we were talking about in the Ten of Swords, to a new day. So even after a painful period, dark night of the soul, there's always a new dawn, okay? Next piece, rinse, repeat, or reinvent. So another fun fact, smaller yellow dwarf suns like or stars like our sun basically are from pre-existing matter. So I put a little bit of a fact here. Almost all of the Milky Way's 200 to 400 billion stars, including the sun, were born through the gravitational collapse of clouds and dust sprinkled through our galaxy by previous generations of long dead stars. So the original stars were pretty big. They blew up pretty fast, but they also put this all these other particles out in the universe that then came back together, created suns, created planets, created moons, all the stuff that we see. So our universe is very good at recycling. It's also, to quote another line from another science fiction franchise, all of this has happened before, all of it's going to happen again, unless, ... we decide to do something different. So the Judgment card is actually representative of cycles, but cycles that can end. Each time we reincarnate on this planet, we get a chance to do better. Each day that we get up, we get a chance to do better. Every thought, every word. Is it helping? Is it hurting? Is it just sort of like, are you just spinning your wheels? So this is a chance for realignment. Just like a car gets you get a realignment to make sure all the wheels are, facing the right direction and treading as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible. You can do the same thing. And you can think to yourself, am I making the most of this? Am I doing something that matters here? All of this is really nicely connected to today's topic as well. All right, so you have a choice right now to break a cycle and to do better, especially as we look into 2023. The sun is a control energy here. It's the ultimate conductor. That's why when you look at a card like the sun itself, it can often indicate that there's a need to focus on who's in charge, right? But I chose the Hierophant here because when we look at our solar system, for instance, you can still see the dust rings around each of the major planets. There was this accretion disk, and basically the sun, through its gravitational pull, helped things get organized. And it's kind of like a conductor saying, all right, horn section, okay, brass, this, that. So it's the same sort of thing. Everything had to get organized around the sun. And certain things collided, but eventually you either going to get in your lane or get out of your lane or join up with something else. I think the important thing that we could apply to our own lives is that it's so more effective to have like a plan. You can always choose to deviate. You can say, I'm going to break the rule here, or I'm going to shift this around. But when you're winging it completely and winging it every day, some days you're lucky, some days you aren't. So I would say focusing on the week ahead, try to enter it with some sort of a game plan. This is going to be a nice segue into the 7-day forecast because that's going to give you what you need, hopefully, to get started on that. But that would be my advice, is to at least have a game plan. I'm going to focus on this on Monday, this on Tuesday, etc. And then you can always move it around if you need to. That's going to help you have more harmony, more effectiveness, and just basically not have to rely on luck or synchronicity so much. Finally, and possibly most important, time is malleable, at least from the perspective of your perception. One thing that was kind of interesting going into the geeking out back into the sun a little bit, it isn't solid, it's plasma, so it moves at different speeds, kind of like Jupiter, actually. Jupiter's not plasma, but it's gaseous. There's a lot of clouds, so it doesn't rotate as a whole. All the clouds and the rings kind of rotate differently. So on the moon, the plasma portions rotate differently. So unlike a traditional planet like the Earth, where there's day and then there's night, and the solid matter rotates around, this thing is kind of like breaking all the rules. Your perception of time is going to change as you kind of move in different altitudes or attitudes in your life. And so your perception, which is why I chose the 4 of Cups here, can completely change how quickly you feel like time is passing. I often use the analogy of childhood. When you're looking at a year of school, it seems like it lasts forever, right? The 4th grade, the 5th grade, you're like, when am I going to get out of this thing? But as you're an adult, I look back at this year, it's been a challenging one for me, but it went now retrospectively faster than I thought. Like, we're looking at just 2 or 3 weeks left in the year, right? So because as an adult, you have so many more responsibilities, because as an adult, you can't rely on other people. You have to fix everything yourself. So you just get busier. Attention is what's going to, and perception is what's going to help you deal with time. And also understand that I really think time is really just what we observe things, they change. So we kind of describe it as a passage of time. But depending on where you are in the universe, time is a little bit different, and how you look at it in physics, and even like the speed with which you're traveling. If you travel at the speed of light, you're going to stay younger than people that are not traveling at the speed of light. So it's a relative term, and I know that that's kind of weird to think about. So let's not focus so much on, I need this done by Tuesday. You just need to get something done this week, and then be open to the day that's best going to match it. And then focus your energy on something else that's more receptive or more attracted to you, and it'll speed up. So that's how I was kind of encouraged to relate time to you for this week. Let's quickly review, and then we'll get into our 7-day forecast. So the first and most important message here is that you don't want to burn out all of your energy too fast. Like a big star, it burns bright, but it also doesn't have a lot to last. So save something for the journey back, pace yourself. A lot of different cards here that could help. Temperance is good because it's really leaning us into patience. 6 of Pentacles would be fine. 2 of Pentacles would be fine too. Of course, I'm going to feature the sun because we're talking about the sun. In this one, I wanted you to remember that you're the source of all power. Don't look to others for all major decisions. Don't blame them either, because you have the ability to also reclaim power. So focus on holding firm to your boundaries and reclaiming what is rightfully yours, and you'll be good. Also remember, like I said, if you've been through a tough minute or two, that the sun rises even in the 10 of Swords. Even in the Tower, we see lightning. There's always light in almost every card in tarot. The Hermit, he carries the lantern. There's no card of complete darkness. There's always light, okay? You're the source of that light. You have a chance to break a cycle if you want to, and that's really up to you. You can reinvent. Otherwise, like Battlestar Galactica, everything that's happened before can happen again. You have to create some order before you can decide where to break the rules. Otherwise, it's just chaos. Chaos can be fun for a minute or two, but after that, it gets a little bit trying. And then finally, how you approach things affects how long they feel like they're lasting. So play around with that a little bit and see if that doesn't help you out. All right, let's get ready for the 7-day forecast. I think I'm going to put this maybe in consideration for the main spread, the Wildwood, because I haven't used Wildwood in a while. Let's see what's calling to me. Okay, maybe I'll use the Fountain Tarot here. I haven't used this in one of the main readings for a while, so we'll do that. Hold this one to the side. All right, next 7 days, let's see what the messages are. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. And guess what we got? The Sun card for today. Lovely synchronicity. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sun making an appearance on Wednesday as well. Friday, got a pretty good week ahead of us, by the way. Tuesday is the only challenging one so far. And then next weekend, got the Hermit, another source of light. All right, so let's break down the messages here. How fun is it that we actually got the Sun showing up for Sunday? It's the Sun's day. It is Sunday. I picked the Sun to talk about today, and here it is. So this is a birthing energy, and it's nicely shown here by the baby front and center. You usually would see the baby sort of riding in on a horse or a unicorn or some sort of animal. Here we see them, it looks like they're swinging in on the rays of the sun. Look at how cool that illustration is. He's kind of bending the light and swinging in. So this is an opportunity for you, as always, to sort of like present something. And how you feel about that is what's going to make it either sink or swim or float, I guess. So sink or swim, that's what I was trying to say. So let's talk about this for a second. If there's someone that you want to ask out, if there's something that you want to be considered for, if there's an action item in your life that you want to move forward, having a sunny disposition, a positive approach to this, and speaking from a place of empowerment, not necessarily being bossy or trying to push your power, but just feeling good about it, generally feeling solid. That's going to shine on over into the other person, whether that's coming through in a voicemail, an email, a letter, or a face-to-face conversation. A smile is a great way to lighten something up as well, but let it be authentic, not scary, because it's a lot easier to connect with that sort of sunny energy. So it's charisma as well. When I look at, I like to interpret the Magician card as sort of like chemistry that you can't put your finger on. You're just attracted to someone. It's like magnetic. But with the Sun, you are kind of like beaming it out. You're using your influence, your charisma, and your personality to pull people in just like the Sun would. So positivity definitely is an attractive force. And if you can use that today, do it. Again, this can also just be a creative thing. So if there's something that you've been meaning to start, or if you haven't been making progress on something and you're feeling like I really need to do it, today's the day to put the energy behind it. You can birth, you can create, you can attract, you can modify. We see him again bending the light here a little bit. So you can also get someone to wrap their head around what you're trying to talk about. Very powerful day for you. Do something good with it today. Have some fun, start something new, and that's going to set into motion some really good things for the week ahead. Okay, so that's Sunday. Even if you watch this a day later, by the way, I'll get a lot of comments sometimes with people complaining that, it's the next day or they saw it late. You can always use a message that's passed to help you see, what did I do? How did that affect me? How could I have done better? It's never bad to sort of like review it and see how it matched up with you. That's also a great way to learn cards. So typically you would pull a card, you would write down some thoughts on it, and then you would regroup at the end of the day or even look at it the next day. And a lot of times we can learn a lot after something's happened. So never dismiss a message just because it came a little bit later. You may not have finished everything that message had to kind of deliver, and you can always do it the next day. This is true with the one card deliveries, any of the monthly deliveries, or even today, if you're looking at this and it's actually Monday, you can say, well, did I finish all of that? Is there anything that I can still do? Do I still feel some of that energy spilling over? Remember what I was talking about with the plasma of the sun. It's not so fixated, like at 12 o'clock midnight, the message doesn't stop completely. You can still use the teachings and still use the energy, spill over into the next day a little bit. Remember, you'll feel it out a little bit. I just wanted to hit on that because sometimes people are too finite with it's 12 o'clock midnight, therefore everything is no longer valid. No, it flows into the next one. This is a weekly forecast and we see a sort of cadence and a musical sort of energy between it. All right, moving into that, and this is a nice segue into that, we go from this creative, sort of more self or selfish energy into a more cooperative energy on Monday. So focus on yourself today, create things, use that energy to pull something in. We see you in a very attractive mode also on Monday, Three of Cups in reverse. Let's look at the Three of Cups and talk about it a little bit. So In its upright position, the Three of Cups represents an abundance, just like the Nine. We see the cups actually overflowing, spilling into each other a little bit. This is a chance to test the waters. It's not one of the cards that would come through that says, like you can sign on the dotted line, or this is the only thing. It's actually one of exploring options. And if you imagine this as like a restaurant, it would be like a buffet, or it would be a shared table where you're all taking samples of things because you're not sure where you stand with something or someone yet. So you're like, let's give this a shot. Or it's a dance where you're going to dance with a few different people, like those old period pieces. You had a dance card and you got a chance to dance with a bunch of people to see who you had a connection with. So you may not get somebody to give you a final decision. So let's break it down into something that's tangible. Let's say you want to sign a document. You want someone to hire you. You want to sign a lease. You want to, get someone to agree to your point of view. What you're going to do on Monday more than anything is create the rapport with them again and say, hey, it's been a while since we've talked. How are you? If you have a moment, I'd like to revisit what we talked about. Do you want to go take a walk and let's go to, coffee place or something like that. You're going to focus on rapport and then get into message. Don't just go straight into message. Don't just try to get that. You have to warm up a little bit with the person and see where they're at and see what they're thinking. You're giving them some time, you're giving them some space, and you're being conversational. It's a great day to celebrate progress. This is a card of celebration. So sometimes we forget to celebrate how far we've come. So one thing that I was celebrating today as I was walking the dog is I don't need a walking boot. My foot is no longer swollen, so I can fit into my tennis shoes. I got some new special ones that have a really thick sole. But like a couple weeks ago, my foot was swollen. So now because I'm starting to use it, the swelling's gone down. And I'm like, little things like, it's not little. Walking's a big deal because it's your ability to be autonomous and self-sufficient. So right now, to do that, to walk the dog and not have pain in my foot and still have the shoe on, not have to take it off in the middle of reading, like that's progress. Yay, Three of Cups. It can be something like that, and you celebrate that. You do something for yourself. You can also prioritize something that brings you joy. So have some fun, definitely socialize or network with people. And if you need to get an important thing agreed upon, you're really looking at the beginnings of it. You might be able to get it done by the end of the day, but you're going to have to start off with checking in socially with someone first. And that's necessary for most big deals anyway, because you need to figure out, do I vibe with this person? Okay. So that is the message there. You might be going out on a date, some of you. Again, the thing with this is the energy is non-exclusive and a little indecisive. So this is more about testing the waters, and that's what I get here. It's a good day to explore, to research, to have a conversation, to network, not necessarily to finalize, but I like where you're getting started here. All right, let's segue into Tuesday. We have an awakening here. Nine of Swords in reverse is also saying, like, I can see through things. I can also see the source of something that could have caused me some issues. It's a problem-solving day. It's one where I actually think you would benefit by some of this energy that came in is there for support. So again, we're talking about how these cards kind of like dance together. They're not in their single swim lanes, rather. With the Nine of Swords in reverse, let's talk about this independently first of all. If you look at this card upright, ostensibly one of the best illustrations of Nine of Swords, it shows that a lot of times the trouble that we have in our life comes from other people's drama, trauma, and that sort of chaos that they have around them. Not like, what is it? Is it the Witcher that uses chaos as magic? It's not that kind of chaos. It's more like some people aren't organizing their energy. They're just sort of like ping-ponging around. So there could be some folks in your life that every time you have an interaction with them, it feels like you have to take a deep breath, or some of the wind was taken out of your sails. And so diminish or reduce or completely kind of like separate that energy, particularly around Tuesday. You don't have time for that. You also want to look at things that reduce fear. So usually for me, that would be education. So if I'm afraid or if I don't know about something, I go and I research so that I know what I can do. I see what other people have done. I see how they have dealt with it. So this is a good day to get counsel, seek legal counsel or psychological counsel if you want to talk to a therapist, or research. and basically get to the bottom of something. Focus on getting enough sleep too. I think some of you might have just burned the candle at both ends, and we've been talking about that a little bit. So take off early that day, get an extra hour or two of sleep. You'll be better the following day or later in the week. Actually, Thursday and Friday are looking great. So I would say just rest if you can on Tuesday. And don't go into the space of fear. So if someone is this and it's not you, you're going to bring in the energy of the sun and the Three of Cups saying, we can do this. I've got you. Let's talk it through. Don't worry about it. We'll get to the bottom of it. So you might need to pull some of this reassurance into Tuesday. As we look at Wednesday, it's a necessary pause. We have the sun there, which I love. So this is the Hangman in reverse. It's saying, don't move forward until you're ready. And you may also have this need to press somebody to get something done. So let's talk about all those major decisions we were kind of alluding to. So maybe you're trying to ask someone for a date. Maybe you're trying to get a meeting with your boss. Maybe you're trying to sign a lease. Maybe you're trying to sign a contract. Maybe you're just trying to get someone to say yes. You're entertaining this option on Monday. It gets signed, sealed, and delivered on Thursday and Friday. These days, this is you freaking out, and this is you waiting a little bit. So we have just a little bit of buffer here where it's going in the right direction. The message Tuesday is stay out of your way. Still stay out of your way on Wednesday. And then it starts to take off in a really good direction, okay? So this is more than anything anxiety. Anxiety and still pausing, but starting to see perhaps because you were waiting, you got a chance to focus on something else. The Hanged Man, if we look really closely here, instead of the halo around his head, we see the sun, which is shining, creating that same sort of energy. So slow down, don't make it about you, check in with the other person, check in on other things. You'll have a chance to make progress somewhere on Wednesday. It may not be where you think, but it's where you need to focus instead. And this is kind of aligning to our topic today, which is the wake-up call. There's a reason that it won't happen until Thursday, so don't rush it. You know, you've still got power cards coming in at the end of the week. They're all good, by the way. There's nothing, this is the only tricky part. Everything else is good. A necessary delay that brings with it power, that brings with it knowledge. The fear that you had here is replaced by understanding, because the Hanged Man is regaining power. Again, if you look at the myth of it, Odin hanging upside down, learning the secrets of the runes. He had to sacrifice some time, some energy, a little bit of blood. But basically, at the end of the day, he got what he wanted. And then some. So you'll get what you want, but it just not necessarily in the timing that you expected it, okay? Focusing now on the power cards. Your first power card comes through, well, significant one. This is the first. This is the next one. So on Thursday, we have Magician. Magician's reverse, Wheel of Fortune's upright. We don't need to focus on the reverse Magician too much other than saying, don't doubt your power and don't sort of spread your energy into too many directions. The Magician always has one of each element. You can see them right in front of his eyes on this card. But without focus, the Magician is chaotic. It's kind of like the soupy energy at the beginning of our universe. So we want to marry these two cards. The energy of the sun, which is organizational, and then having him be a little more focused so that the Magician's not upside down. Magician and High Priestess in reverse can indicate High Priestess is not listening to your higher intuition. Magician, not trusting your abilities, putting your focus in too many positions at once, relying on someone else to get it done when maybe you can do it and maybe you know how to do it better. So this is really about going back into internal source. I mentioned that there's also an intangible, attractive energy with the Magician. So where the sun is you beaming out and having to try hard, the Magician's not trying hard. So if you can go back into trusting and believing, which is what makes magic work, by the way, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, then you're going to be more powerful and effective at creating the necessary outcome. And give the person space or give the situation space, because then they're attracted to the fact that you're not pulling on them so much. They're actually missing your energy a little bit. So reposition yourself a little bit. And with both the Hanged Man and the Magician reversed, you can actually get something else done that you didn't expect. They're all powerful cards. They're all major arcana. We got a lot of major arcana cards this week. There's only 2 that are minor. So this is a big week, folks. Well, 3. This is a big week, folks. I feel like you can get a lot done. All right. And it all pays off by the end of the week. So anything that you were hoping to get done, I feel like you have a very good chance of it, particularly in the areas of money, work, finance. It may be a little different with relationships. We'll look at that separately. But when it comes to other things in your life, you have a really good chance of pushing the needle in the right direction. We see the person at the center of this wheel of fortune, kind of like in what looks like the atomic symbol. So they're moving energy around, they're shifting things. Things are happening pretty quickly. So I was talking about time feeling or being relative. This card definitely underlines that. This is a great day of the week to deal with money, contracts, and major decisions. They have a very good chance of going in the right direction. Okay, so Friday is the best day of the week. We have a lot of lead up energy, which I already talked about. I'll recap all of it in like a very brief moment here. But first, let's go ahead and look at next weekend. Looking at next Saturday, we have the Hermit. So this is you in many ways being the light in the dark. There could be a challenging situation, could be family, could be home, could be work, but you're gonna have to light the path or light the way. This could also be you deciding to just pull inward a little bit because you've been pushing so much, because we saw a lot of energy surrounding getting stuff done. Your patience has been tried a little bit. Some of you have overworked a bit. So the Hermit's a day where you're actually being encouraged to say no if you need to some sort of extracurricular. It's not reverse, so this is saying it's okay. Pull in, refuel, rebuild your sort of energetic foundation, and you'll be glad that you did. It is a good day to learn, to get some work done. It's a very productive card. That's actually what the Hermit is all about, is discovery. So research and discovery, or research and development, very much supported by this. So it can be a productive day, but one where it would be better if someone wasn't hovering around you, or if you don't have too many distractions for when you're trying to get work done. Otherwise, it's just saying you're going to cozy up with your dog, your cat, or yourself, and just chill out a little bit for a few hours. And that's going to be time well spent. Even for those of you that are busy parents, you always make me laugh in the comments. You're like, I don't have time. I have a 2-year-old. Carve out some time early in the morning, or once the child is asleep or something. Take a bubble bath, or listen to a podcast, or do something just for you and say, this is my time. Have your partner step in and help you out so that you can get that 5-10 minutes even. It makes a difference. And see if that doesn't help. Because I know you can't necessarily have like hours and hours on end, but you can carve out half an hour or 15 minutes. But it's going to be at one end or the other. When I used to have a really difficult day job, the way that I wrote my first book is I'd have to do it early from home or late. I would go to like a cafe after work, and on my own computer, I would just sit there and write a little bit, drink some coffee, try to find some energy that I didn't have. So I get it. But I carved out time to do something I wanted, and I felt better after that. Even though I might be a little bit exhausted, it would only be like half an hour, but I thought that's my time. That felt good. I'm glad I did that. And that gives you more to give to others. As a caretaker, you need a little bit for yourself. You can't just give and give and give, or like the sun, it's supernova time. All right, so let's focus on what's coming through for Sunday. Sunday looks pretty good. A week from today, we have the 9 of Wands. It's a card that shows that you're nearly at a completed stage. The card is reversed, but let's look at it upright. We see him almost climbing up this pyramid structure, and he's almost directing the light and the energies as well. Let's see. One thing that I would say with the 9 of Wands, especially when it's reversed, is the way that it's forming in my head is that you don't owe anyone an explanation. I don't know why some of you need to hear that, but so if there's something that someone's consistently trying to push you to do or convince you to do, you know that you want to do something else, stand strong. And you don't have to, you don't owe them an explanation. You can say thanks, but I'm going to go forward with this. Or I hear what you're saying, but this is my decision. Standing firm, standing strong, moving forward, not worrying so much. I think that's going to be important. The 9 of Wands is a card of surviving. Let's pull up the traditional 9 of Wands, and I'll show you what it looks like. Things that you want to be focusing on a week from today. I would say pay attention to concentration. Also, some of you might just have a headache too from all of the stuff that you've been working on. Maybe you've been drinking too much caffeine. Maybe you've been listening to too many people. I feel like meditation, breathing, exercise, all those things are going to help out. So do something to refuel a little bit so that you can get into that 10 of Wands. Even the 10 of Wands, as it's traditionally illustrated, can show someone that's a little bit like, Like, this is tough. So here's the cool thing with the Nine of Wands. So we look at it, we see a person with a bandage on their head, which is why I mentioned all those maladies of the head. But they're like, I got this. I'm not giving up. I've gone this far. I'm going to push to get all of this done, because they can see that it's just one more step, and they're really ready to let go or to move on. So don't give up. It's a motivational day. Do something that's a carrot on a string that keeps you motivated, because it feels like some of you are just either exhausted by trying to explain things, or you've taken a couple steps forward and one step back, and that one step back is frustrating you a little bit. It's not worth it. You're okay, and you don't want to give up on the progress that you've made. All right, let's quickly pull all of these messages together, and then we're going to get into the next portion. So if you're watching today, everything that I talked about in the channeled messages is summarized by that card. You're the source. You can sweeten things with your sunny disposition. Your charisma is really kind of shining loud and strong. But this is also a chance for you to get started. So start something today. What you start today, you'll finish by Thursday and Friday. Monday, it's what's the best way that we could call it? It's a day for socializing, not just with people, but ideas. Pushing things out in the universe and saying, what do you think? But having a playful approach, not a pushy approach. Conversational, playful, social. That's going to help you eventually get to these two cards as well. Focusing on Tuesday, don't freak out, basically. The Nine of Swords is our own sort of like a critical mind stepping in and worrying about worst case scenarios. You can only do what you can do, and then you're going to have to just take it one breath at a time, one step at a time. Get some information, pause. The pause that you take continues into Wednesday a little bit. You're actually able to get some other things done. I would say on both of these days, shift the focus. When you're not focusing, things start to come back to you. Very productive day with the Magician. Failed to mention this earlier, but the Magician can do anything that he or she sets their mind out to do. So this is a card where you're kind of like a jack of all trades. With that, there's the message not to overextend yourself. The power day to get stuff done, to sign things. You can sign something on Thursday. You can definitely get something signed, sealed, or delivered on Friday. And then it feels like you deserve a break. Come Sunday, do anything that you want to be productive, but probably on your own if possible. Carving out at least 15 to 20 minutes if possible. Otherwise, trying to keep that optimistic point of view, because like this is like a spotlight, and it's beautifully illustrated here. You shouldn't have to force things. The Nine of Wands is reminding you in reverse that not everything has to be a battle. And if people continue to kind of make it so, then you know that this probably isn't the best match for you energetically. Okay? That is the channel messages. The 7-day forecast. And now we're going to look at blessings and blocks. So let me just rearrange the cards on the table here so that we have a little more room. And I'll shift and look at a different deck for this. All right, so blessings and blocks for the week ahead. Your blessing comes in the form of the Ace of Swords in reverse, and your block is the Hanged Man in reverse. Okay, so we actually have a weekday to associate with the block. Wednesday is your block day. Let's see how we can move around it with the blessing. So the blessing is Ace of Swords in reverse. There's a necessary revision that needs to happen this week, and you can get that done. This is about speaking up, editing, changing, getting what you want. You will have a chance to do that, but it may take a couple passes. So if you're writing something, first draft is not what you want to send out, or you're going to share it with someone, they're going to have some thoughts. It'll go back and forth a couple of times. Not too much. It's an ace. Maybe one time on each side, and then you get what you need to. This is about keeping it brief. Don't make things like a telenovela. Really just kind of get to the point, let it go, and see what happens. Also, don't force the conversation. Knowing that you can do all of these things is going to empower you. You say your part, they say their part. It is either a match or it isn't. The ace wants you to simplify things. It's one. Cut it to the bare essentials, and it's either right or it's not. And if it's not, then look in another direction. Okay? The block this week, again, is impatience. Again, we have another card where we see sort of like that solar energy coming through on this. But with the Hanged Man in reverse, don't assume that something isn't happening just because you haven't heard. Don't rush to finish something if you're not satisfied with the product, with the quality of the product, because you're not going to be able to take back those first impressions that you get. And don't get in your own way. This card can also, just like the Tower or the Two of Pentacles, it can represent like a trip or a fall that is self-inflicted. So just slow down. You're supposed to slow down a little bit this week. A lot will get done towards the latter part. The slow down is Monday, Tuesday, a little bit. Well, Monday's okay, but I would say Tuesday, Wednesday, you're supposed to slow down. Just allow it to be and trust that everything else is going to be okay. You can always do other things like research, develop, telephone, do some other things that are kind of a little bit more passive while you're waiting for the big thing that you're focusing on this week to come into focus. All right, so a nice alignment with what we were pulling in the 7-day forecast. Okay, let's take a look now at the elemental breakdown. Let's see which cards are calling to me for the elements. Let's see. I don't think we've used Aphrodite in a while, so we'll use Aphrodite for the elements. All right, so this is the only portion where it's going to be specific to the signs. Everything else that I read today is for whomever's present. This is a collective reading, so let's go ahead and shuffle the cards and see what's coming through for all of the different elements. Welcome to all my channel members, by the way. Anyone that's given a sticker, I'll say thanks at the end. All right, so let's focus here on fire first, earth, air, and water. Okay, let's begin with our fire signs. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. It's time to stand up for yourself. We have Justice in reverse. Justice in reverse is one of the clearer cards, particularly if I'm ever asked a yes/no. This is typically a no, or it's typically saying, I need to separate from this, walk away from this, or I need to rectify a wrong. If there's something that's not working, this is a chance for you to fix it. So in the typical Justice card, we see the scales, and we also see that sort of new horizon in the background. And so in order to get to that next vista, something has to be balanced out, something has to change. So you're being asked to, without hesitation and without ambiguity, to say something. This isn't right, or I don't want this, or let's change this, or we spoke about this and this is what needs to shift. You're going to speak your truth, okay? And remember, using a little bit of the energy of the sun in a positive way. I trust that we can get to a resolution here. This is what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? Or, we talked about this. How did we end up here? Is there a reason that just open up the conversation. But one thing that I want to underline is, let's say you are going out, for instance, on a date on Monday, or someone gives you an opportunity that you don't really feel. So if you're not feeling the connection, whether it's a job or a relationship or someone wants you to hang out or something like that, what's best is simply no. Just say thank you, but no. Thank you, I'm busy. It's better if you mean no and you don't want anything else to just say no so that they don't get their hopes up, okay? Because then that will free them to find someone who can give them a yes, and it frees you to find something that is more connected to your energy. So you're just being asked this week to draw a line in the sand, say what you want, say what you don't want. You're possibly given a position to rectify a right or wrong, to find a balance that didn't exist before. And important stuff. Here's the cool stuff. Whatever feels like it's a block or whatever it's difficult to kind of get out of your mouth or to get done, there is something in the horizon that's worth it. So you just have to kind of push through a little bit this week and be the balancing agent, and then everything else is worth this effort. Let's move to our earth signs. This is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. We see slow, steady, and good progress coming through. I like the Seven of Pentacles. The interesting thing with the Seven of Pentacles is we still have a little bit of a lesson to be learned. The main lesson here is what's come through time and again in today's reading, patience. I'll pull up the traditional illustration and we can kind of look at this one. There's always a somewhat coy, passive, or frustrated energy in this one. Here we can see the Rider-Waite-Smith version of it. He's looking at the progress of the growth here, probably comparing it a little bit to his friend, the Nine of Pentacles, and he's like, why does she have all of that and I'm still waiting? So the important thing here is that slow and steady wins the race. That's why there's a snail on the Nine of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles, what tends to happen is over-promising, under-delivering. not knowing your limits or not kind of asking the questions and getting in over your head. So there's still that little bit of a potential that it could happen. But if it doesn't, you'll go straight to 8 and 9 of Pentacles. So you're very close to a breakthrough. You don't want to give up. She feels a little withdrawn on this card, possibly even embarrassed because of, past mistakes, because that's what the 7 of Pentacles can represent, clearing up old debts, clearing up things that you said you were going to do, but you didn't. It doesn't matter when you do it or how you did it. If you eventually do it, or if you change and learn from those experiences, then the 7 of Pentacles was worth it. Nobody is perfect. I don't know anybody that hasn't made some mistake or error in their lifetime. If they have, they're a saint, and I think even the saints on this planet made some mistakes. So give yourself a little bit of credit. It's more about what you do with the information. That's the difference here. That's the difference between growth or stepping backwards. But just to kind of simplify it for Earth, know your limits. Don't overpromise. Don't overstretch. And put a little bit of contingency in place, a little bit of padding, a little bit of extra, so that you're not caught thinking, oh, I should have asked for more, or I need a little bit more of this, etc. Okay? Make sure that you do that for yourself. When it comes to people like myself who are recovering from an injury, this is also about not going full force back into like working out and activities. I have taken it very slowly because I don't want to upset this is not 100% healed. So just like a bone, I remember when I was at the doctor, he said, all right, it's all sealed off here. Everything looks good, but modeling is still happening on the interior portion, and you're going to have swelling for a month or two. So healing still is taking place, even if it looks okay. So same thing happens with finances, with our own sort of lessons, just like a bone that fuses back together. It takes a little time before it's 100%. You're at 70% right now of what you're normally at, whatever it is, emotionally, financially, etc. So you've got room to grow, which is cool, but you also want to take it easy. Okay, focusing now on my air signs: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It's a fun week for you. It's passionate, but you might also be finding that you're riding the roller coaster. I like that we have the King of Cups. Some of you may be socializing a little bit more. This can represent incoming love. This can just be you wanting to hang out with people a little bit more. And I support all of those things. Some of you are just feeling, though, like I have been through the ringer and then some. And so the King of Cups in reverse is saying, find yourself a good outlet. Find yourself the necessary person to support you, to listen to you, to be there for you. Get the love, support, and rest that you need in your life. Creatively, there's a lot coming through. So if there's something that you want to start, you may find that you start working and the hours pass by. It's like 2 or 3 hours later and you're finished with the task, but you think, where did the day go? So definitely pace yourself and take care of yourself. Self-care is the main thing that I'm picking up here. Emotional self-care, and then not getting too sort of like passionately connected in one way or another, feeling like, oh my God, go, 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 or, oh, the sky is falling. There's something in the middle that's going to help you. Just like 9 of Cups, the King of Cups when reversed can indicate going to extremes. But could be new love, could be creativity for many of you, and I like that. All right, moving from my air signs to water, we have the King of Wands. I love the King of Wands, especially in the upright position, because this is showing me in this particular week, you have the potential to lead. I love that we see that panther, just like the black cat on the Queen of Wands. So your intuition is coming through loud and clear. And one thing that he's saying is, like, you don't have to oversell. Let people come to you a little bit so you can throw something out and say, let me know what you think. I like that he's cool, calm, and collected, and his power is partly in that confidence. Even if some of it is being pushed out there, it's not all 100%. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it when it comes to the confidence. But he's a cool cat, and that's what this is basically coming across as. So your ability to remain calm and cool under pressure, your ability to step into a situation and lead, and your ability to basically just let things come to you and trust that they are, is what's going to be the secret sauce to success this week for you. And it's kind of interesting that you didn't get the King of Cups here. It's because you're supposed to be a little less here and a little bit more here. Think it through. You can use your passion but it's more about focusing on the practical, not just the practical, I would say just sort of like what's the big overarching idea that you're trying to accomplish and get people on board with that. Again, being the light and the sort of conductor amidst all the chaos, you especially are coming through with that energy. Okay, let's take a look and see where we're at and what we're going to focus on next. All right, so we've done all the main things at the beginning of this reading. We did the channeled messages, 7-day forecast, blessings and blocks, elements. The viewers and readers' choice, I could either do it now or I could focus. I'm going to do it after the main spread so that we can see if there's some additional things that we want to drill in on. So let's hold that plus the big idea, which I throw in here after the main topic. And I'm going to clean up all the cards here. And I feel drawn to use the Wildwood Tarot today, just because that's been sitting over in one of my boxes. And I went over today after walking Apollo. I'm like, what haven't I used in a while? So I haven't used that. It has some cool animal totems, and it feels like it's a good match for today. All right, so just give me a second to get organized. How's everybody doing today, by the way? Hopefully you're sailing through the month of December in a good space, in a good way. I'm glad that you carved out some time and decided to spend it with me today. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get this out of the deck. A reminder that you can, anybody can watch this. This isn't just like one sign. We're all present today, and just like a weather forecast, we look at this as what I just gave you was like your regional forecast. We went very granular with the 7-day. We got sign specific, so that'd be like regional. And this is looking at the energy of the entire planet. So let's look at this together. Give me 1 second to get all the cards out. The only thing with me being in a temporary environment is I can't have everything on my stand as usual. So sometimes I have to get all of these things in real time put out here. All right, while I'm getting everything organized, it's a good time for you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I know a lot of viewers watch this for some reason without subscribing, sometimes over 50%. So please do me a favor, hit subscribe. It helps YouTube know that there's something worth seeing here. And as I've started to navigate back into live forecasts, they don't get ranked as much. So I really do need your support with liking, sharing, and subscribing. Okay. And like Tammy said, thumbs up. Okay, let's give these a shuffle and see what's coming through here for the special topic for today. Let's repeat the special topic. It's wake up call, what the universe wants you to know. Not what you want to know, but basically what you need to know. This is a cool deck because there's tons of animals in it as well. So I like this as a sort of nature totem deck. And I don't think I've used it in at least a month. So all right, let's expand the forecast. Okay, let's begin and let's take a look at this. This is a really cool card. I don't think I've pulled this one from this deck before. We're going to begin with a catalyst. I've been reading for so long that I forget to sometimes say what the catalyst does. Basically, catalyst begins that sort of connection or that action for the month. It's a way that you can always use it as a touchstone to stay on track. So we have here balance, which has come through more than once. And it says the gift of neutrality. Balance is at work in your life. Yin and yang are opposites in energy, but they reside side by side to create the gift of neutrality. So part of what I was talking about on the energy of Monday. I went to grab the card and realized it's back in the stack. The Three of Cups energy is basically saying you're going to find that sort of dance with that other person, because I do feel like some of you need to get something done. This card is reminding you that it's a little bit of back and forth, and it's a necessary back and forth energy this week. I think this is a nautilus, isn't it? I think that's the name of this particular animal. But anyway, the important thing with this is understanding that there is a rhyme, there is a reason, there is a season. So if you can stay cool, calm, and collected, kind of like we saw with the King of Wands, you're going to have better luck in this particular point in time, okay? Things will happen in the right time, in the right speed. You can't force it. And that's what we see here. Your neutrality, your balance, your lack of... it's a little bit of detachment. Your lack of being attached to something is actually going to bring it to you a little bit faster. All right, let's go to the center of the spread. So again, special topic today. It's a wake-up call. So I want to look at things in your life that you maybe are hitting the snooze on, that you're not paying attention to, and see what the universe wants to do to kind of help you see potential too. Maybe there's something that's right under your nose. So we'll start with your center card. And we have the Four of Cups, which I believe I featured this in my channel messages here. So this one actually calls it out for what it is. Some of you may be disenchanted, bored, not connected to what you're doing. I used to joke, but it was the truth. Like, one of the worst things that you can be is busy and bored, because you're really working hard and you're not connected at all to how much work this is. Like, you're not feeling like it's worth the energy. So if you're busy and bored, or not doing anything and bored, this is what's making the time pass so slowly. This is why today you tuned in. There's a lack of desire, a lack of passion, a lack of connection. So for some of you, this is saying it's time to do something that matters. Life is too finite. We never say it's too short. Life is too finite. It does have a beginning and an end. So let's make the most of it, because we don't know when that end point is. And one thing that I learned with if I look at several relatives in my family that have passed, like one fell from a ladder and just passed away. Like it was a rapid death. My dad, it was more predictable, but the way that he passed, like he expressed, like wishes that there was more time. My mom, even this morning, was coming through and saying, she wished she could still be here. So I get it. Like, sometimes we wish we could just rush to the finish line on anything. But when it comes to life, typically what I've seen with almost everybody that's passed is they always wish they had one more day, right? So let's imagine this is your one more day, that you got your wish. This is a magical way to look at it. So let's say in spirit, but you're using it now. So your future self, which is a spirit, is coming back and saying, don't do this, do this. Focus a little bit more. Don't wish your day away. That's the first message that came through. Don't wish your time away. You matter, and this life matters too much to be bored. So if there's anything that makes you feel disconnected, bored, or not interested, disinterested, time to set that free. This can also be, now if we take off the boredom piece, the traditional Four of Cups is a blessing in disguise or a missed opportunity. This is the wake-up thing. So oftentimes we're missing, I'll pull the traditional card while we're talking, it's literally an ace floating in front of us. So it could be someone that has their eye on you, that has been wanting to ask you out, and you just don't pick up on the signs. It could be a match, like a job that's a better match for you. It could be a better environment, and you're just not seeing that it's out there because you're not allowing yourself to look. So this is being too focused on what's in front of you, not what's being offered up to you. So explore the options. That's another way to put it. So if we take the two interpretations of this, life is too short to be bored, and you owe it to yourself to explore every opportunity, even if it seems outlandish. Okay? Super important. I like different interpretations, and I will continue to use the two different decks as needed because they show us more. That's why I keep switching up the decks. People wonder, like, why do you have so many tarot cards? Because to me, it's like music. It's like the difference between listening to classical, pop, rock, metal. Each one is going to give you a different vibe, and so each deck has a different resonance. And so I can see that, and I like to compare it to the original. Okay, focusing on what's crossing it. And so this is what's going to be important for your ability to hold space here. So we have the Stag card here. And this particular card is reminding you to march to the beat of your own drum, rather. And I believe that they reversed, I think, Strength and Justice in this particular deck. And so you're really being asked to make a decision here. And we can actually see the scales of justice on this particular Two of Swords as well. Let me just pull up the traditional card here and we'll talk about it for a second. But one thing that I would say right now is that nobody but you can really make a decision as to what's right for you, right? And so know in this moment in time that it's important for you to kind of stand up for yourself, to make the call, and to basically to be the voice of reason. I like that there's this drum here as well. So people are looking to you for a cadence, for assurance, and for basically that sort of understanding that you're going to be okay in this moment in time. So let's see. I may not be able to find it because I'm going too fast. Here we go. Yeah, I think they did. So 8 and 11 were switched in this deck. So it really is, I believe it's justice in this deck here. So what you have to do is basically be the one that's making the call, and make sure that everything fits for you and suits you. And I think one thing that we learn is that over time, it's not, you can't make everybody happy, okay? So at the end of the day, how do you feel about this, and what are you going to do to make sure that that you're feeling okay in your moment, in your voice, and everything is exactly where it needs to be, okay? Let's go ahead now and focus on the deep past, and we have the Page of Pentacles, and we have the Lynx here in this one. So the Lynx is coming through and basically saying it's your chance to basically step in, be stealthy, and focus on going after what you want. If you're not willing to speak up for it, if you're not willing to kind of take a stand for this, when is it going to happen? Who else is going to do it? And this is basically saying you trust yourself enough to basically to just go out there and say, this is it. And I think it takes like life experience to realize that nobody's going to be an advocate except for you when it comes to something. And the pages use their voice. So this is saying, I need this, I'm worth this, or I need to understand more about this. It's inquisitive, even though it's not the Page of Swords, it's asking about value and worth. So your biggest opportunity from the deep past, and this is going to constitute, yes, by the way, it's related to strength. We were talking about the Stag. So what I was trying to say here, because yeah, strength, the two were switched on that one, so thank you so much. But with the Strength card, the strength here is standing up for yourself. So there's a little bit of an overflow between the two. But what I was saying here is, if you're not willing to sort of stand up for yourself or to articulate this, then we wait too long for someone else to make that happen. And this could be what's causing a delay. This could be why you're waiting so long. So this is saying, this is what I want, this is what I need, and this is why I need it, right? And I would say for you, is the sooner you're willing to allow that to happen, the sooner things can start to happen. You never know until you ask. And if you're open to some of these things, you can see them start to come into your life quicker, faster, easier. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at recent past. We have the Ace of Cups coming through here in the recent past. The Ace of Cups is in reverse. And basically, on this particular card, it's talking about the waters of life. And this is saying, in this moment in time, if it's meant to flow, if it's meant to come into your life, it will come into your life. If things are moving in an opposite direction, this often happens when we've made a significant shift within ourselves, right? When we've started to decide like, I can't do this anymore, I can't be with this person anymore, or maybe you're wondering why someone's fallen away from you. And that's really because energetically you're here and they're here, or vice versa. So if someone's flowing out of your life, someone else will be flowing into your life. If a project or opportunity is exiting, something else is coming in. It's about going with that energetic flow, not forcing or not trying to reclaim or hold on to something that has already served its higher purpose. Some of you aren't ready right now to put a lot of energy into love and relationships. And so one of the things that you might want to do is focus just a little bit more on your personal health and happiness, to focus just a little bit more on what it is that brings, again, passion and inspiration into your life. This is connecting with what we were seeing. What was it on Saturday? Yeah, next Saturday. It's basically the hermit energy. It's saying, let me just refuel, rebuild, refill myself up a little bit. Because until this cup is upright, it's going to be difficult for you to invite or invest in a new relationship, invite a new relationship in or invest in a new one. As we focus on your crowning card, we have indecision here with the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords here is saying, listen to your heart. We have the feather, we have coins. Normally, I think you would have the heart in place of the coins. So she's putting her hands right over her heart. And really, you want to tune in not to what's expected, what monetarily is going to bring gains in this moment in time, but rather, how do I feel? What do I want? What does this mean to me? What can I do about that? So I like to remind folks that with the Two of Swords, you just are being asked to make the best decision possible in this moment in time. You can put one of those swords in the ground, take one, and take action. You can always come back and use that other sword later or redirect. So the only thing that's going to hold you back is indecision. Now, we have injustice on this. Even though it's Two of Swords, it has a very justice type energy. So some of you can't move forward because you feel to yourself something isn't right, something isn't fair. In that case, ask or advocate for whatever it is that you need, using what we were talking about with this, the Page of Stones, the Lynx. The Lynx is very good at good reflexes. So you're going to be asked in this moment to do something that maybe you didn't see coming, because the traditional Two of Swords, she's just blindfolded and she's just having to move and go with the flow. So trust your instinct, trust your reflex. Don't lose out on something because you didn't expect it. And sometimes something that doesn't seem right, like that injustice could be read in a couple of different ways. It could just be unexpected, like, oh, I don't know, is that right for me? More of a question than this is wrong for me. If it's more of a question, try it out first and see. You might be the perfect match for an opportunity or a relationship. You just didn't see it because we had that sort of disconnected Four of Cups at the center. You're not paying attention here. So that's a chance for you to change perspective, to change direction a little bit. Now we have the Blasted Oak in the near future. Let me just show you where these are coming from. So near future, Blasted Oak. So just a quick little review here. It's about a change of perception, about following, marching to the beat of your own drum, about advocating for change, speaking up here, listening to your heart. If you're not ready for something, heal yourself first. If something or someone's fallen away, trust that something better is coming in. Now we're looking at these two. There's a change coming. You may not see it or want to see it. This is turning a blind eye. This is blindfolded. This is change that's going to happen no matter what. So if something needs to be done, do it sooner than later. The Blasted Oak in reverse is basically Tower in reverse. Interesting thing on this is you can imagine that the person's going to land on their feet because it's upside down. So unlike the upright version where they're thrown head first, if you take control of the situation, it's sort of like you see a building coming crashing down. You're going to land on your feet. You're not going to be thrown out of it. So this is your chance to say, I see what I want to change, or I see that this is happening. So I'm going to do something about that. I'm not going to just sit here and wait and hope that everything's going to work out. I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to be active, and it's all going to work out. But that it's because you choose in that moment to take responsibility. Apollo needed a belly rub. Take responsibility and take control of a situation. Okay? Reorganization, mergers, changing, shifting, all of those things are supported by the Tower reversed. I like to refer to it as a surfer. So you're going to decide how to ride the energy of this wave of change, and everything is going to be okay. Okay? Now let's see where your power is in this moment in time. First of all, you can't not see the ears on this one. We have the Queen of Wands here, my favorite Queen card because she's the Queen of Fire. She's she can make the impossible happen. She is innovative. She is inventive. She's a pretty good card. This particular version of her is highly unusual, the illustration. keep your ears open, keep your mind open. A reversed Queen of Wands has to work at that. It's a little harder. She knows she wants something and she wants it that way and only that way. This card is saying, listen to what others have to say. They may be able to save you time and energy down the road, okay? What I like about this, though, is once this Queen card is connected, lots of speed, because this is a hare. So whether it's a hare or a jackrabbit, you know that they can move quickly, okay? We'll look at the traditional Queen card, and I'll talk a little bit about why I like this one so much. But you'll see in the traditional card that she's in the desert. She can make things grow. She has a sunflower, connecting to our totem for today, the sun. She is magic. She's in Egypt, and she's got this black cat in front of her. So she's connected to ancient wisdom and knowledge. So as a leader, as a person in general right now, you have the capacity to really think your way through any situation, come back from any sort of challenge, and really just shine, okay? There's more than one sunflower. We see one on either side of her face. She's carrying one and she has the cat in front of her. She can create abundance where none should exist. So you can do something others can't, and that's going to be your power in this moment in time. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and keep an open mind, and most importantly, listen. Keep some open ears, because we see that with the hare card here, okay? All right. In your environment, we have 3 of Wands, wish fulfilled. He's holding one of the wands as a bow, basically. So target is important on this, being targeted in your approach. He's basically ostensibly taken that from the 2 of Wands, because 2 of Wands is, I see it. You're focusing on the globe and you're also focusing on the world. So he's now going to take the focus that he had there and say, phew. He's active. He's not just waiting for things to come to him. So he's meeting opportunity and he's also adding to it. And that's going to be also part of your power right now. There's no passive, I deserve this, it's coming to me, I'm just going to sit here and wait. It's more sort of like, oh, this is coming. Oh, I also have this idea and we're going to add to this, and it's going to be a back and forth. It's going to be an exchange. And that's where the power is going to exist here. So a couple of notes from the universe. Here's your wake-up call. It's happening now, folks. Whatever you're trying to do, listen a little bit more than you have been. Someone has been trying to say or show or present something to you. Something about the timing is off or unexpected, but you have to move fast. If you don't move fast, someone else is going to move into that situation. So quick movement is necessary. Things are already underway, and the sooner you can embrace that, the better. This also serves as reassurance. You may not be getting communication to this effect, but if you've been trying to make something happen, then the wheels are in motion. In fact, a nice segue into hopes, fears, and opportunity, we literally see the Wheel of Fortune here. And the Wheel of Fortune also came through on the 7-day forecast, Friday, I believe. So we have it coming through here, and it's still, you can either make that bigger than it already is or just accept what's coming. Either way you shake it, there's going to be the Wheel of Fortune towards the end of the week. So I like this particular illustration because it shows, I think it's called a loom, but basically someone's going up there and creating this. You are the agent of your own fortune. It's not that you're lucky or unlucky. It's how much work you're ready to put into it, how many opportunities you're ready to embrace, etc., etc. And then you can always add something new to this tapestry, basically, as well. Okay? I think that's it that I need to say on that one. All right, so let's focus now on your outcome, and then we'll expand this and get some additional layers to what you need to focus on. So as we look at the outcome for this spread, we have the 7 of Cups in reverse. The 7 of Cups is typically a card of exploring options. I'll read this one, and then I'll put the original one next to it. So you'll notice on this one, we have the word mourning, like feeling sad about something or moving through that energy of basically processing loss. But I would almost never read it as that. I would probably put that on like the 5 of Cups instead. But what I could say, the reason that the author may be doing it on this one is sometimes we have to mourn the loss of an opportunity that never happened, right? I wish I would have. That's what this is. FOMO, fear of missing out, or wishing that you would have done something. So instead of wishing that it could have happened or fearing that it won't happen, do something about it. No fear of anything on this one. So if you're entertaining it as a thought, you're either going to do it or not, as Yoda would say. Do or do not, there is no try. So let's take a look at the traditional 7 and see why sometimes we get stuck in our head. Sometimes it's because we can't make a decision. They all look good. Sometimes it's because we're hearing the voices of our friends, our parents, and boss coming in and saying, like, you can't do that or you should do this. So you want to tune out the voices. You want to stop worrying so much about like which one is best and go to, like, close your eyes and think, what do I want? What just feels right? It's kind of like if you're trying on jeans, for instance. One looks good, but one feels good. And maybe it doesn't look as good as the one that feels good. You're going to go with the one that feels good because that's the one you're going to wear. The other one's going to sit in your closet and you're going to beat yourself up for buying it. So you got to do the thing that feels right, even if it doesn't look right to other people. Okay? And that's what we have here. Someone that's thinking way too much about all of the options. One of them is going to fit like a glove, and that's the one that you want to focus on. Okay? And there'll always be chances to try other things. So don't worry so much. You just have to take one and move forward. As we expand the forecast here, hopefully I can help you make one of those decisions a little bit. And we're going to focus now on health, wealth, love, and destiny. Okay? So let's take a look at your health card. Before we do that, a quick reminder, I'm here to help you look at energy. So if there's anything going on with mental or physical health, please work with the appropriate professional for that. But looking just at the energy of energy, we have surrender, which is a really cool message when it comes to spirituality. Because as we start to develop upon our spiritual path, when we know what we want to do and we surrender to the call, things just magically start to fall into place. It's sort of like inexplicable how it happens, but it happens. So that's step 1 here. Let's read the card here. It says, I release my need to control, or I can release my need to control. Maybe I don't want to, but I can. So when you release that need to control each and everything, suddenly whatever happens, and you feel this sense of, oh, this is how it was meant to be. This to me looks like a big old Ace of Pentacles as well. So for some of you, you could just be focusing on so much energy on one delivery, remembering that the whole energy for today is letting go, the sun and the totem as well. So put your all into it, and it's either going to be what you want or something else is going to come through. And that's it, knowing when enough is enough. And that gives you a chance to just be free. Let's look at the cards and let's look at some specific messages surrounding health. Okay, so this is in the near future. A necessary move and change is already on the horizon. The tower can indicate either work or home or relationship. It's a lot of things. But whatever it is, here's how you'll be able to recognize it. It doesn't give you the stability and the support that you need. So if it's a job, you may just go in and feel like every day is chaos. If it's a relationship, the person doesn't have your back when you need them to have your back. In fact, sometimes they come in and destabilize things. If it's a living situation, first, the easiest thing is just to clear and reorganize. The tower is a mess. So when I'm looking at it in a read, it could just be like something's messy. Clean out your closets, clean out your room, do some deep cleaning. Energetically, that will help. And also from like just a microbial and health point of view, that's going to help you as well. But on a sort of more abstract level, maybe where you're at doesn't feel or vibe like you. The last place that I had to stay at while I was looking for an apartment, and I'm close to, but not there yet. I'm waiting to manifest a signature this week. But you know, the last place was not good. I didn't like the city. I didn't like the place. This is a lot better. It's a lot closer. It's amazing what can happen just with a shift of environment, right? There are certain energies where you just feel like, oh, I can rest now. Oh, this feels more like me. So if there's something in your life where you're feeling friction, or it's like opposite magnets that are pushing away and you're trying to push them together, no amount of strength is going to make that fit. There's always going to be that tension. So trust in that. Watch your balance. So when you're walking, especially as we're going into inclement weather in the northern hemisphere with more rain, sleet, and snow, you want to be careful. Watch what you're doing. This can also be for those of you that are working around machinery or this is also just like watching what you're doing when it comes to finishing a project. You could be making things a little bit more challenging or difficult for you. So pay attention. Neither of the three cards here are paying attention. She's focusing in another direction. She's got blinders on, and he's just trying to land on his feet. So we want to make sure that you're paying attention, and that's the most important thing. If something's not where it needs to be in your body, obviously talk to a professional. You can't sweep it under the rug. It'll come out anyway. So ask questions, talk to somebody, get this taken care of sooner than later. Balance came through a few times, or neutrality. So just trying to find the balance in your life is going to be the most important thing in this moment in time. We do see favorable outcomes here, especially with the Wheel of Fortune and the Three of Wands. So whatever you put your energy and focus into, I see movement. She can make things work even when they shouldn't. So I like all of those. Concentration. Some of you are having a hard time focusing. It could be stress. It could be emotions. It could be just loud noises around you. Whatever's going on, focus on trying to clear out your ability to concentrate or meditate, because without that, it's very difficult to be effective as well. Those are the main things, to be honest, that are coming through. Otherwise, it looks pretty good to me. I like what I see. Okay. I'm also looking at this with respect to health. For those of you that are trying to get pregnant, I would say the main thing here is also to not focus so much on the need or the lack of the pregnancy, and more just surrendering to, if it's meant to be, it will be. We did get the sun for today. The sun is the totem that is nicely connected to this. That is a birthing energy, but you can't force something like that. It's either going to happen or it isn't. So surrendering to the outcome either way is going to be important there. We do have a good card for manifesting. This is a good week for that, but it's not about orchestrating it so much. Trying to enjoy that when you're doing it. And this is the truth for any kind of birthing energy or inception type energy. So creative projects. If you're a writer and you're trying to put yourself on some word limit per day, not necessarily the best thing. I know that writers like Stephen King, they do so many words per day, but not every writer needs to do that. And not every productive person needs to do so much stuff per day. It's sort of like whatever's coming through, let that be, and celebrate the fact that you did it. Show up. Have fun. Having fun is more important than doing it and making it feel like a job. And I think that's going to help you with anything like that. Okay? Let's take a look at your wealth. The Dragon's Duel. Cool card. Haven't used this one before. Inner conflict, morality, and conscious choice. So we have two powerful figures here. You came through as the Queen of Dragons, the Queen of Wands. So you can handle this. You've got this. Even if you have the King of Wands, it's evenly matched energy. If I see a divine partnership like that, the ranking doesn't matter. So let's just imagine that this is like a King and Queen of Wands. You're the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands is out there. So there's going to be someone who has the same capacity to kind of be pushy, to be bossy, to have ideas. You just need to have a point of view and hold your ground, okay? The inner conflict is what the other party's going to use. So in war, and we're looking at duel here. In war, typically what happens is the other person looks for your weakness. So the weakness here would be the thing that you're not at peace with. So if they know, this person always feels this way about that, I'm going to use that to get what I want. So resolve your inner conflict so that they can't weaponize that against you. It's a really powerful thing actually to do. So examples of this, in a world where things like even like gender or sexual orientation or whatever along those lines could be weaponized against you. If you own it, no one can try to like use that against you. So if there are certain things that you stand for, certain laws, certain things, whatever, just put it out there so that nobody tries to come back and says, oh, this is something that you stand for. You could say, yeah, I've always stood for that. That's me. Why are you bringing it up now? Do you have an issue with it? Because I don't. That's especially true for things you can't control. When we're talking of any of the isms, ageism, racism, sexism, or any of the phobias like homophobia, just be your authentic self and always be your authentic self. And if someone questions or has issues with it, say, I've never said I was anything other than this. Why do you have an issue with it? In this day and age, why does it matter? And so that's kind of what we see here is own the conflict. Make peace with it. Whatever it is that you are having issues with, when you're okay with it and someone else isn't, it speaks more to them than it does to you. And that's kind of the way to win it without even having to fight it. Morality. Always walk that higher path and do what's right. I think that's super important. And a conscious choice. Is it worth it? Are you going to do this? What are you going to gain from this situation? Okay? Let's focus now specifically on wealth-related issues. I'm going to look for those of you working, and then I'll look for those of you that aren't. But for those of you that are either working or going to school, let's take a look at some of the issues that could be coming up around wealth and resources. The first thing here is some of you may not see your own potential. So the wake-up call from the universe is you're worth more than you may realize. You're worth more than others or even yourself may have advocated for. You have a chance to rectify and find the balance there if you want to in this period of time. It's probably time for some of you to move on, to make a change or to move into a different space. And we see an opportunity on the horizon. The universe is asking you, what do you want? Because it has a hard time delivering if it doesn't know what you want. Again, as I've said earlier, the minute you know the Seven of Cups reverse what you want, the minute the universe starts to deliver and starts to bring it through. Let's see. I'll look at entrepreneurs in a second. Let me just focus on those in a current job first, and then we'll see that. The other thing here is the lacking passion. I mean, these three are actually telling a story. Not feeling it, having a hard time doing it, time to do something else. And yes, you have the capacity to do it on your own. So we definitely have entrepreneurial energy with the stag at the center, basically saying, I can do this. I choose to do this. And I think that's the most important piece, is the choice and the decision that this is what you want and that's what you're going to stand behind. Let me see if there's anything else here that we need to... I do see resources that are something that you can tap into, but it requires articulation and possibly a physical move. Some of you may need to physically move from one place or one business or travel in order for this to happen, in order to get this potential wheel of fortune. So that's it. Clarity is the one thing that's lacking the most. And all of these, they're not really looking, kind of busy trying to catch up. So I would say the clearer you are, the easier things are going to be when it comes to making that happen. Okay? Let's see, for those of you that are retired or not really focusing on work right now, I think that the main thing for you is also either letting the dust settle. Let's say you've recently transitioned into early retirement, or you've taken a sabbatical, or you're just unemployed right now. It's sort of like, who am I without that connection of work, community? So you're finding yourself again. You will find yourself, and you are on the right track here. Sometimes we have to lose something to gain something. So that's sort of like the higher reason for this. For those that are retired, it feels like for some of you, there's a lot of focus on money right now, and you might have some questions around that. So stability, like getting really comfortable talking about finances and money, is going to be important to you in this moment in time. I just have a very positive card, no matter what you're trying to sort out, that you're going to find a way. It may not be the obvious way, Four of Cups, but it's already there. And again, when we were looking at the traditional Four of Cups, it's like just sitting out there waiting to be tapped into. So I'm not going to pull it up again, but you know what I'm talking about. It's usually floating right in the air by that person. So all you have to do is reach out and say, let me try this. And I think that's it. For entrepreneurs right now, you want to be mindful, because there was a question around entrepreneurial energy. Yeah, it's supported, but here's what you want to do first. And it's what I did 7, almost 8 years ago. I made sure that I had the finances to be independent first. That meant I had to work 2 more years than I wanted to. But it was worth it, because I needed everything that I saved and then some. So get your security blanket in order first, or your nest egg in order first, so that you have it if you need it. Because this also shows some tricky waters in the months ahead. So we just want to be prepared for whatever curveballs the universe throws your way. Okay? Can you do it? Yeah. Queen of Wands energy. Will you do it? 3 of Wands energy. Yes. Can you make it happen? Yeah, I see this too. Just make sure that you have all of this planned out. So calculate your budget, your intake, your output, all of that stuff. And if I were to look at how close, you're pretty close. Like, I'm not a financial advisor and you should work with one, but the 7 of Pentacles on top of the the Wheel of Fortune is basically saying you're about 70% there. And it may be close enough for you. You're taking on a little bit more risk for entrepreneurial stuff. Okay. Last thing with this, with the Dragon's Duel, it does not have to be binary, right versus wrong. It was something that I put in one of my slides, but I'm going to talk about now. There's a chance for both people to take an opportunity to drive the car. So try to find that in-between energy where you both are in agreement on something. Nice segue into not hopes, fears, and opportunities, but actually relationships. So we see a blending energy on this one, and yet again, balance. So we see the two faces merging into one another. We have this card in reverse. So for some of you, you're deciding, I am tired of taking on all of this. I am tired of this person projecting onto me. I am ready for more autonomy and independence from them, and I need a little bit more for myself as well. So this is your chance to reclaim that and to separate just a little bit, find out where you end and they begin. So this is what I was talking about when whoever I pulled justice for earlier, I think it was the first sign, wasn't it, fire? Or for the first element, rather. I think that for you, it's really important to just be firm and clear. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. And where the imbalance exists, to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to try to rectify that, because that creates the tower energy that we see here. And we don't want that in the long run. Pardon me while I take a drink. So this balance card is going to help you avoid the imbalance that is happening with all of these. Okay, let's focus now on 3 different types of relationships. We're going to look at those of you in a relationship looking for love or single and happy. For those of you in an existing relationship, I like to look at it first from the perspective that things are okay, and there may just be a lot going on around you. Even if it's okay, the fact that we have the tower in the near future shows that there's a lot of shifting and movement and change. So let's go into that first and foremost. Okay, so being seen and being heard, literally, I can't see you, I can't hear you. That's the most important thing. Communication, but also like recognition. So it's not just about talking to one another. It's also recognizing the qualities that you appreciate, the things that that person's doing, recognizing the pain that they may be in. Lots of different forms of recognition. It's not just I love you. It's thank you. It's how are you. It's I appreciate all that you've done in this situation. So that's the first thing that I'm picking up on is that. It does feel like if everything's okay with the partnership, there's some big shifts and movement happening around you. So one partner may be going through something in their family or in their own health where they don't have a lot of control. They need a little bit of support, and you're going to be the stabilizing force. So the important thing there is to make sure that you're also being supported, because if you're not, then that can also be a little bit discombobulating. That's actually a good word for the 7 of Cups in reverse is discombobulated. I don't know what I'm focusing on because I'm focusing on you and there's a lot going on here. So you may need some support if you're supporting your partner as much as you appear to be here. I do feel generally pretty good if you make the necessary changes. So these are changes. This shows that things are working out for the better, but this is not super clear. So I think even in the best of relationships, what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like, all of these things need to be sort of clearer and less ambiguous than they probably are. Now let's kind of dig a little deeper. Let's assume that there may be a couple of challenges that you're going through in your relationship. I see stubbornness with the Queen of Wands reversed. So there's stubbornness here. I see a lack of wanting to hear or see things. So these two kind of tie together. With this one, I see a lot of strength and a lot of, these are evenly matched, the Stag and the Queen of Wands. So I see someone here who is just very my way or the highway, right? And so that works sometimes, but there has to be a middle ground. There has to be something towards the center that allows you to understand what each has to offer. And I think if you can find that, that's going to be the key thing. But let's be honest, with the Tower, one or both of you may be moving into a different direction. And if you are kind of experiencing that feeling like I've done all I can, this isn't giving me the balance, the stability that I need, then that's okay. That's what this was about. Reclaiming yourself, reconnecting to source energy, and being okay with that. So you will be okay, but there is this sort of, the morning now makes a lot more sense here. sometimes when we break up, sometimes when we lose someone, when they pass away, or when they just step out of our life, they still occupy a lot of mental real estate. You can hear their voice. You can imagine how they'd react to things. And so that's the pictures that you're playing in your head. It's the records that you're playing in your head. So that's what I see for some of you, is it takes a while to break that record and break that process and make room for new stories, new movies, new records to kind of be played in that space instead. So take your time. If you're on the rebound, or if you're mourning the loss of somebody, even though we didn't get the death card, I now understand it when I'm looking at the Blasted Oak and the Seven of Cups together. It is reconnecting and restructuring one's life after someone is pulled out of it or pulls themselves out. So that can be divorce or death or something else of that caliber, where it's just sort of like, I had a predictable cadence and structure. Now it's not there. It takes time to recover and rebuild. It can take at least a year, folks. So give yourself as much time as you need on that. Okay? Now let's focus on people that are looking for love right now. You got to make the change first. Whatever this is, change in health, change in relationship status, change in living situation, something has to shift first. So once that changes, pretty quickly, someone comes into your life. You're showing up, actually, though, as the Queen of Wands energy. So I feel like you're very specific, maybe too specific on how, when, where, what this person is going to look like. Having a little bit of flexibility there could help, rather than it has to hit every single one of those check marks. You could also say all of this or more, or these are the general things. I'm open to a happy surprise. That gives the universe a little bit of flexibility. If you're too picky, if you're too specific, we're looking at 100 list items, like it's going to take a while. So be just clear enough and just flexible enough here so that the universe can work with you. That would be my advice with respect to that. And I feel like it's going to be a happy surprise. That's the best way. You're calling someone very evenly matched. Could be the same star sign as you, could have some of the same qualities that others respect in you. So there could be an occasional butting of the heads or dueling or argumentative sort of side here. But there's also a lot of passion to be had as well. So you're going to have to balance that out. Is this person too much like me? Okay. And if they are, then why? Look at that actually as something. Why are you calling a mirror image of yourself in here? Because this is a mirror image almost, because if they keep blending, they're going to be the same face in a second. So that's what I see here. If you're single and happy, it's a good time to be single and happy. The focus comes instead on work. It comes on exploring dreams and goals, on finding a new alignment in your life and trying something different. Personal development is what I really see here, because this is about the mind. Like I said, research and development, this is manifestation of that. This is success. And this is expansion of the mind as well, dreaming and doing. So a lot of personal growth to be had right now if you're not focusing that energy on other people. Okay? So to single and happy folks, congrats. You'll get a lot done in this period of time while other people are kind of trying to deal with all of this. All right. Now let's focus on your destiny card, and then we'll try to make some connections about everything that we talked about today, and include a reader's choice here at the end as well. Okay, so we have spiritual support. Dear angels, I allow you to support me as I grow to become more spiritually aware. This is basically like a high priestess energy. It's saying I'm opening up to receiving guidance from the highest source available to me. And it's basically saying I trust my higher self as well. So you always have support available to you. You always have guidance. Are you listening to the guidance? Are you working with it? That's all this card is really coming through and asking. This could also be seen as a conduit to your star, your North Star. The star in tarot is basically connection to source, authenticity. Someone was asking a question about being like your most authentic self. You're always... when that happens, there's always going to be pushback, especially if it is way out there. If we look at someone like Lady Gaga, when she first came on the scene, she was just bold and different, and everyone just constantly commented on that. She was also trying to show, like, I can be anything. I don't have to just be one thing. Her authentic self is basically... is just that. She eventually kind of calmed down a little bit, and we know what to expect. But I think she wanted to come through saying, don't try to put me in a box. I'm here to be out of the box as much as possible. So you can just kind of embrace the fact that you can do whatever you want to do, and people are always going to talk. And they said some bad things about Lady Gaga at the beginning too, like making comments that were totally inappropriate. She didn't care. I loved it. I think that was so cool. She's like, I am who I am, and this is what it is. And eventually she ended up showing everybody by getting a lot of awards and doing some cool stuff. So let people say what they're going to say. Be yourself. People that truly know you, they're going to be able to see past that. Just be like, you can sniff out authenticity with somebody, I believe anyway. So just be yourself. That's my advice there. Okay. Let's go ahead now and quickly take a look at all of these cards, not only to draw some high level notes, but then to get ready for the readers and viewers' choice. Looking at all of this, what is the big wake-up call? Let's look at the big wake-up call. I feel like some of you aren't aware at how quickly things are happening, and you might not be listening to or looking at what's available to you. So it really is about slowing down. There's a reason that I kept getting the Hangman this week. You have to slow down in order to pay attention to some of that stuff. What's the other big wake-up call? That you're worth more than you think, than others may have thought as well. And that there are different ways to get there. You're either going to change the environment or you're going to leave the environment. One or the other, pretty much with this. You have to ask in order to know. And if you ask, you might be pleasantly surprised. You march to the beat of your own drum, which we just talked about with Lady Gaga. If you're not happy, when are you going to prioritize happiness? I remember a ridiculous statement. I've said this before. I was in high school, and I was kind of in a competitive AP, advanced placement sort of track where we took tests so that we could get like college credits for certain courses. So I did it for English, and I basically didn't have to take like English 101. I could go straight into things that people were taking second semester or third semester. But anyway, as a result of this, there was a lot of pressure for SATs and for test scores and grades and all of that. And I remember sitting in homeroom, which is where we just start the day, and one of my classmates saying, I can't wait until I'm retired, because she was just really tired of working so hard. And we were like 17 or something, 16, 17, 18. I thought to myself, that's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. Like, we have our whole lives ahead of us, and you've already said that you can't wait until you're retired because you're not happy. So that's telling me it was too competitive, too much pressure. She didn't need to be doing all of that. There probably was a better path than that. So don't wait for retirement. One, you don't know nowadays if retirement's even a feasible thing. We don't know how many days we have on the planet. When you are retired, you don't know what your body's going to be like. You've got to live now and love now and enjoy now. And that's the biggest wake-up call I could give you, is today matters the most, because you're living it today, because you're doing it today. Don't worry so much about 3 years from today, 10 years from today, or 20 years from today. We don't know if that's going to even be. So focus on now. And if it's not good enough now, it's not good enough. Full stop. I think that's the big wake-up call with the Four of Cups and the Ace of Cups reversed, because it's the center card and it's the recent past, and these are the presenting energies. Everything else is good to know. Like you can earn more, things can happen faster. If you listen and look, you can start to see the opportunities. But the big wake-up call is you deserve to be happy today. And if someone in your life isn't allowing you to be happy, if they're not celebrating your truth, or if they're just putting salt out there when you're otherwise having a good day and trying to rub salt in the wounds or something if you're recovering, that's more on them. And we're not going to give them power. We're not going to focus on that. You're going to focus on yourself. You're going to do something to bring in love, joy, and abundance. Okay, now we're going to go to viewers and readers' choice. Actually, I think we've got it, but let's look at a big idea and see if there is a big idea that can connect with that, how to be happy. And then we'll do the reader's choice. I think I have to go to a different deck for this one. All right, or a different slide for this one. So big idea. Where is my big idea card? Here it is. All right, so for the big idea, just one card to kind of bring us into connection with that. I'm going to go into a different deck for this just because we can, and it's fun. And I have some decks here by me. So here we go. We're going to use the Wild Unknown for these extra cards. Okay, so what's the big idea for this month? Ten of Cups, amen. All right, the Ten of Cups is in reverse, but it doesn't matter because the way this is illustrated, it's not so important. But we see in these 10 cups all these sort of ribbons or strings or beads of energy. For many of you, you've been spending a lot of time satisfying others, filling up their cups. Turn it around and go into the receptive mode and say, I'm ready to receive. It's my turn. And not in a needy, greedy way, just sort of like, I'm ready. Let's bring this on. Because you've done a lot to support other people. So it's your turn to receive. And that's basically what this is saying. And it is a nice connection to what I just mentioned. And if people love you, they'll support this new journey or this new path for you. Okay. Occasionally, I just got to let Apollo know that we love him as well. All right. As I get into my next place, I'll definitely get a couch. That's been the best thing that I've learned with this. So he can be with us the whole reading and just chilling out in the background. All right, let's take a look at all the cards in front of us and see what additional messages here, readers and viewers' choice, that we can come up with. I'm going to start first with viewers' choice here. So let me just pull open an extra tab here and create a Q&A, or not a Q&A, but a poll. Okay, so for today, let's look at the navigating. Usually I take the difficult one. I'll take it. I'll take the Tower. All right, so looking at the next most challenging one, how to focus, how or where to focus, I would say with this one. How/where to focus, okay? Because it could be like how to focus on distraction. The next thing, someone just asked a question there. Like, I don't know. Yes, there could be, this is about unconditional love, by the way, because of the strings attached. I like that. That was a good mention. So because of that, I'm going to piggyback on that, which is how to cut old strings/ties, because sometimes it's hard to let go of those old things. To that end, when we're looking at rebuilding, I'll look at the Tower. Yeah, we'll look at that with the energy of the Tower. Okay, and then let's see if there's anything else. Oh, the hidden thing. So the hidden opportunity. Hidden opportunity. Okay. What is it? All right, so you have a chance to vote on these. And while you do those, I'm going to dig into the energy of the Tower a little bit and see what it has to bring forth for us. So why is the Tower here? What do we need to know about letting go or rebuilding, etc.? So we have Chariot energy here, and the Chariot is in reverse. So let's take a look at this real quick. So with the Chariot in reverse, this is actually connected to the Stag energy as well, because they're both number 8. I think that was the one that was reversed here, so it actually came through. They did 8 and 11, so I guess it was Chariot and Strength, the two that were reversed in this one. So anyway, so I'm looking at this, and that's what it reminded me of. So with the Chariot, this one is basically saying you have the freedom to decide, you have the freedom to move forward, and the way that you can do that is by calling the shots here. So you basically got the same card twice. This is in the crossing position, and then this Chariot is coming through. I just forgot which one. I knew that they switched the two, but I couldn't think for a second. So with the Chariot here, it's basically saying, I own this path, I choose this path, and I take whatever sort of responsibility it's going to need to go in the direction that I need to go into. So here's the reason that this is happening. People are going to come through and say, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? And all you have to do is say, yeah, I'm sure I want to do this. Because if you can't tell them that you're sure, then they're going to have a hard time believing you. So for the necessary change that's coming through in your life, are you certain that you can do this? And if you're not, work on it. Work on finding a way, a reason, a season to get that done. And that's going to give you the strength that you need in order to get into the next piece of your life. The other thing here, you were asking me earlier about entrepreneurial energy. this most certainly is entrepreneurial because there's no chariot and there's no chariot rider attached to it. And so, oh, sorry, that was 7 and 8. So with this one, yeah, I can count today. So it was, I think I was right. It was justice and the strength card. But anyway, with the chariot, this is about you saying that I don't need anyone else here but me. This is my path, my choice, and I can do this on my own. So people are really coming through to see how comfortable do you feel with this? What do you believe? All of that is going to matter more than what it is that you're doing. So at the end of the day, do you believe in yourself? Do you trust yourself? Are you ready? Are you ready? So in my science fiction book, I had that as one of the biggest opportunities, which is, are you ready? And do you know? Because until you're ready in your life, it becomes very hard for others to listen to you. So be ready for that, okay? That's ultimately what we're getting on that. All right, let's focus now on the question that you have for me. All right, so let's see what's winning in the poll at this moment in time. We have a very clear winner. Hidden opportunity, what is it? All right, so let's take a look at the hidden opportunity and see indeed what it is. All right, so we had the 4 of Cups, we had the 2 of Swords, and we also just had a lot of kind of like chaotic energy with the Tower. So what can you focus on? I think that's super important. All right, so what is the hidden opportunity? Okay, so the King of Cups is coming through to remind us that the hidden opportunity is joy and is happiness, and it is whatever makes you happy makes you successful. Some of you, it might be love after loss, because this King of Cups is actually in the middle of a rainstorm, it looks like. You can see all those little raindrops around him. So it's a chance to love again, a chance to live again, a chance to reclaim happiness, all of that and then some. The other thing for this one is owning your sort of creative, it could be intellectual property, it could be creative path, but owning your creativity. But it's back to the point here, which is happiness and love. That's a hidden opportunity. This is a swan as well. So we see a swan go through phases of development. And so part of that is also kind of indicative of what you need to focus on in these sort of changes in your life, and just realize that you don't always start off perfect at the beginning. So I think the hidden opportunity here, if we're to look at it kind of on a more totem point of view, is just to basically understand that you have this capacity to develop into something bigger than you are right now. So see the capacity, see what's coming through, and know that you can do this. And yes, you're right. We got this for the air signs too. So love and happiness and joy keeps coming through. We get a lot of the same messages time and again today, which is good. We like synchronicities. So overall, I like what today has in store for us and what this week has in store for us. I want to look into I want to look in the guidebook. I want to understand the stag card. It's been a hot minute since I looked at this deck. So let's read up on that, because that card keeps grabbing my attention. And I can't finish the reading until I've looked at it. So let's talk about the stag and see why it's crossing the center, because I want to give us exactly what it is. So here's what they say. Forest King and Guardian, half human, half animal. Meaning concepts of forgiveness and reward are not appropriate here. Interesting. So sometimes we have a hard time forgiving ourselves. That's actually the hardest piece, isn't it? Sometimes is forgiving ourselves. I like that. And also, this is a really beautiful sentence here too. We are guests of the earth, not its masters. So one thing that I like to say, and this can help you on your sort of planetary goal, is, are you leaving this place? Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's the planet itself, are you leaving it better than it was when you found it? Because if you're not, if you can't leave a situation better, if the goal is destruction, we got the chariot here, the tower rather, then that's something that we really want to step away from. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to highlight. righting a wrong. So there was also mention in here about haunting guilt over a wrong action or subconscious feeling of bitterness because of an unfair situation. So some of you might be trying to balance out something from the past as well. So this moment gives you a chance. It's still about the energy of balance at its core. So this particular card is reminding you, I really love that piece, that we are stewards of the planet. We are not here to own it, to lay claim to something. We're also supposed to leave it better for future generations, which, spoiler alert, include us, because we keep coming back to the planet. So leave it better than it was than you found it initially. That's the main message as interpreted through this deck with the stag. And it's intentionally not human, because this is not about you. It's about sort of the bigger planetary energy that you're giving to it. So this was a really unusual card. It's not directly correlated to a traditional spread, so I wanted to look it up to give us those extra pieces, which are super important. So that is going to help us actually, for many of you, decide, like, does a situation leave you better at the end of the day than you were when you started? And can you leave something better as well? Because if you feel spent for the energy, it's not good enough for you. Relationship, job, experience. And then also, if you can't leave something better, don't do it. Move on to a different path. Walk the higher path. Don't say something or do something hurtful. It's not worth it. All right. Super important. Okay? Now we are going to navigate into the final portions of today's reading. So for today, we're going to do three things. We're going to do a quick meditation together. We'll do a sound bath as well. And then you have a chance to, sorry, I'm on the monthly one. Different final one. We're going to do meditation, sound bath, and final card. For the final card, this is your chance to basically ask me a question that I haven't had a chance to answer so far. And so if there's anything that you've thought about today, maybe you had your own sort of epiphany or wake-up call, specifically around the energy of what can I do to be happy? Maybe that's the question. But ask whatever question you have, and I'll pull that card at the very end, okay? First things first, let's get ready for the meditation. As I'm looking at all the cards on the table, I really like what we were talking about here. This ability to be better or do better than we were able to do yesterday. I like that. I think we should also play around just with the energy of the rising sun. It's something that we can all relate to. So let's tune into our bodies for a second. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath, and then on the exhale, let go. Allow yourself just to be present. And in this moment in time, let go with each breath that you take. Let go of an old regret, an old thought, something that's been weighing heavy on you. And just allow with each breath that you take, imagine that you're getting lighter and lighter, just like a feather. That if you were to reach out your arms, you could actually see with each breath that you took sort of an energetic wing starting to sprout. So you're lightening the load, but you're also giving yourself the ability to fly when you're ready. In some mythologies, there's this beautiful bird called the thunderbird. So almost like a phoenix, basically rising up from the earth. We're going to imagine that we're like a phoenix or a thunderbird. So imagine yourself standing towards the rising sun, and you're almost behind looking at your silhouette. So you can see the sun rising around your head, and it's creating this halo of light. And you can feel that light now, kind of like you're drinking it in your crown chakra. You're allowing it to move through your body. You can see these beautiful wings starting to light up with this golden light. And you can see it go from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, clearing, strengthening, and bringing you into your highest self. Now imagine that your physical body can stay on the planet, but your spiritual and higher self can move above. So see that energy starting to jet up into the sky, following one of the rays of sunshine, the rising sun, and just allow yourself to view the world, to view your life, to view the things around you with a new sense of understanding, with a new sense of gratitude, and with a new understanding of your power and potential. And just drink that in as we get ready for the final card. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to take one last view of the planet and find one of those rays of light and write it back into your crown chakra, allowing this beautiful resplendent thunderbird or phoenix to now snap back into your physical body, bringing with it the power to recreate, to breathe life, to breathe energy into anything that you choose to do so in the coming weeks and months. Focusing now on your physical self, bring your energy back into your heart center, and think about your final question that you have for me. This is your last chance to ask something. Don't type it in chat, simply think about it, and we'll let the cards come through and give us a clear answer. So keep focusing on that question. Let's see what the cards have to say. Such a synchronicity here because we have the Two of Swords in the crowning position here. So I actually pulled the Two of Swords, but we have an eclipse energy on this one. And we basically, it's coming through saying just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it isn't so, that you can't be it, that it won't happen. So think back to our ancient ancestors when they saw a solar eclipse. They probably thought the sun was dying, right? The first time that they saw it. It's just a momentary pause. So if you're asking me a yes and no, what I'm going to say with this is there is something that needs to be looked at first. The eclipse lets us see the corona around the sun, basically the crown. That's what that means. So you get to see that sort of crowning energy. And we wouldn't be able to see the corona if that didn't happen. So it's showing you something that has always been there, but you have to step away from something or not get exactly what you want initially in order to see something else. So there's a bigger truth or a bigger thing that needs to be dealt with first, and then a yes. And so you're being asked to look beyond the obvious. And so rather than blindfolders, this is like a genius interpretation of the Two of Swords. Instead of blindfolding, we're actually blacking out the sun for a second and seeing something else. But it's actually not showing. Like I said, there's truly never darkness in a balanced tarot spread. There's always a balance of light and dark. This one's predominantly dark, but the light is there. So there's a moment of darkness or uncertainty, but something bigger will come through, and that's going to lead you to that sun energy, which was what everything was about today. So we came full circle. It's going to be not as easy as black and white. I'm never going to come through and tell you you should do something or shouldn't do something. That's something you have to decide. What I can tell you about your yes/no question is there's a lot of shades of gray for those of you that have it, and you have to choose what's best for you. And you're going to get additional insight as you go on the journey, and you'll be positioned to succeed no matter which choice you make. But you should choose what's best for you at the end of the day. This is a card that also is encouraging you to ask probing questions on things like contracts, on negotiations, on major decisions. If you think someone needs to think about something, you want to bring something to their attention, you can try through a question. You can't ignore things. It'll always find the light of day. But there's nothing to fear with the Two of Swords. Specifically this one, it's telling me things are going to get brighter, things are going to get lighter. You're in this momentary pause. It seems a little bit murky right now. Take a path, take a decision, ask a question, get past this, and things will start to be a little bit better, okay? The most important thing, if we look at the message here on this card, we have injustice. So it's about making sure that what you do feels right for you. And we have the fact that the money, it's not about everything. Money doesn't solve everything. It doesn't create what you're looking for sometimes. We really want to focus on the happiness quotient, okay? So there you go, folks. That is today's reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly appreciated the topic and appreciated the time here with you today. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, like if you haven't already, and then also subscribe and opt into notifications if you haven't already. It helps the channel. And again, like I said, for whatever reason, I noticed that live streams get ranked lower. So everything that you do to kind of comment on it when it's on replay helps. You can follow me on social media. It's always my first and last name unless noted otherwise. You want to remember that I don't do private readings and I don't use direct messages. That'll help the real Nicholas Ashbaugh from others out there. And also remember, if you want to give back, you can do it through SuperStickers, Super Chat, and memberships. To that end, thank you to everybody, whether you've just showed up and hung out with me. That's awesome as well. I appreciate that. Or if you gave back, couldn't do this without you. let me take a moment to welcome the newest members and to also say thanks to Super Stickers and Super Chat. Before I do that, a couple of quick programming notes. I'll be doing some special videos at the end of the month. The way that New Year's falls, looks like I always like to do New Year's Eve, so it'll be a Saturday, I believe. So I'll do Saturday and then I'll be here on Sunday. So we'll do something special, maybe a month-by-month breakdown on New Year's Eve. And then we'll theme it special on Sunday. Maybe it's like New Year, New You, something of that nature. I'll try to come, if I want to, I'll list a bunch of New Year's topics that we can look at. So more to come. I'll do a couple of back-to-back readings probably for New Year's. So keep an eye out for that on my main channel page and on the community tab. The reason I'm not posting a schedule is I haven't moved and I'm going to move sometime this month. So I need flexibility in changing dates. I may post it and just say the dates are going to change because there's going to be a week where I have to juggle it around. So that's why for the past few months I haven't been posting because I've been moving a lot. So thanks for your flexibility and understanding. That's also why the one-day reads I have to work faster to get a day or skip a day. So just be patient with me. We'll eventually get a day ahead on those as well. I see constant comments on that. All right, so let's take a moment now and say thank you. All right, so to the newest memberships for today, let me just take a moment and say thank you. All right, Lexi B, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, brand new member. Edith, Star Channel member, thank you so much for that. That makes a difference and that helps. Let's see, Dar Dust, thank you so much for your brand new membership. Robert, good to see you, my friend, again. Welcome back as 36 months of membership. Let's see. Ashwini, I think it is. Thank you very much, brand new member. Sebnem, thank you as well, new member. Michelle Powell, brand new. And I think that's everybody. So thank you to the newest members for showing up here. I appreciate it. And now for Super Stickers and Super Chat. Give me just a moment to express gratitude here, and then we'll wrap up for today. All right, kicking things off today, we have Michelle Brown. Thank you so much. Lucy Rodriguez. Let's see, Phoebe, Alona, several other names. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Janice Semper, thank you. Ina Minor, Liz Morrison, Sylvia, Hawa, Kay Ross, Yvette Sanchez, Esmeralda, Mind Travels, Kathy Ahern, Leslie Schmitz, Sophie LeBreton, Renita Ray, Lucy Rodriguez, let's see, Aylin, I think it is. Thank you very much. Jeannie, Melissa, Ms. Jocelyn C, Carmen, CM, Mermaid, Marusia, and Elmina. I think it is, Elmina. Thank you so much. Let me see if I missed anybody from that list. I hope not. Thank you also to Melissa for being a member for 3 months. I can only see the recent membership milestones here. Let's see if there was anyone else that had a milestone. I think that's it. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right, everybody. I appreciate your time and energy today. I look forward to seeing you over the next few weeks and doing some special stuff for the holidays as well. Lots of love and light from Apollo and I. I'm going to take this little guy out for a walk. He's been such a good boy during the reading. Want to say hello to everybody or roll over? He's like, no, Dad. I just want to chill out here. So anyway, from my heart to yours, have a great week ahead, and I'll talk to you real soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.